1 win at home in 12 months. Gareth Ainsworth's 16th loss in 25 matches. The first time QPR have let in 4 at home since November 2019. And Blackburn on more wins than QPR at Loftus Road in 2023. Gareth Ainsworth, it's time to go. I was at Loftus Road for today's 4-0 loss against Blackburn, so here are my thoughts on the match. Going into this game, Blackburn were 20th in the table. They'd won 3, drawn 1 and lost 6 so far in the Championship. In fact, before coming to Loftus Road, they'd lost 4 matches in a row, conceding 12 goals and scoring just 2. And that's been the story of their season so far. Their loss of their top scorer, Brereton Diaz, has hit them hard and they've really struggled for goals up front. But of course, you know that teams on these kind of runs can quickly rectify it against QPR. I must say, despite some recent thrashings, I think this was a bit of a false position in the league for Blackburn. A few new players taking time to bed in, and they'd had a tough run of fixtures against Coventry, Ipswich, Leicester and Sunderland. Like QPR, they lost 1-0 in the week against Coventry. QPR themselves obviously losing 1-0 at Elland Road against Leeds on Wednesday night. Despite the narrow scoreline, it was a very poor QPR performance. So Ainsworth decided to make 3 changes against Blackburn on the back of this. Dunn came in for Steve Cook, who went off injured at the end of the match. Smith was dropped to the bench and replaced by Stephen Duke McKenna. And most questionably, Lakesh came in for Kakai. Now I say most questionably, if you've watched any of my other videos, I've been calling for Kakai to be dropped for a long time. But we replaced him in typical Ainsworth fashion and put a left back at right back instead. What could go wrong? QPR would have probably their closest effort of the match in the first minute, with Armstrong picking up the ball down the wing, charging into the box and being blocked at the near post by the keeper. And that was as good as it was going to get today. In the opening 20 minutes, when we had the ball, we struggled to advance it. Despite a change in personnel, Ainsworth's tactic of playing out the back still reared its ugly head. We were adamant to play the ball down the channels once again, with Jake Clark-Salter continuously trying to hit Armstrong down that left-hand side with poor balls. And as so often happens with away teams at Loftus Road, once Blackburn did get onto the ball, they worked it so much better. Pass and move, clinical, head to goal. And on the 18th minute, QPR went 1-0 down. Rankin Costello managed to push to the byline, shrug off Colback and pull the ball back for Dolan to score his first goal in 20 matches for Blackburn. Now I must say, not only was Colback's defending poor here, but Jake Clark-Salter attempted to stop the ball and just completely slipped on his arse. Just 4 minutes later, Blackburn would make it 2-0. Down the right once again, Smodic squared the ball to Sigurdsson and he placed it in the back of the net. Now I encourage you to watch the highlights on this one. Clark-Salter once again. Feel free to stick a leg out at any time rather than just watch the ball go past you. QPR's second shot came on the 25th minute. A long-range chair effort which, as seems trademark for him this season, just went straight into the keeper's hands. And we created nothing meaningful for the rest of the half. Our midfield was so poor in this match. The reality is we don't have any ball carriers in this team, or anyone that can pick up the ball in midfield, turn and advance the ball. The only one that can do it is Chair, and we don't want him playing too deep and performing that role. This, to me, as well as Ainsworth's instruction, is why the defenders always hit it long, or Begovic hits it long, and we lose the ball. And that's the other thing. The strikers can't hold up the ball. The balls they're getting are poor. We don't win any headers. And every time we lose the ball, it would take one ball for Blackburn to be on the attack. Now, this is nothing new. This has been happening at Loftus Road for a year. But Blackburn were just being clinical. You've got to remember we're 2-0 down to a team that had only scored 2 in the last 4, and had conceded 12. Blackburn were more organised, more direct, they had more runners. Everyone knew what each other was doing, and it was just easy. That's the only way I could describe it. From one QPR corner, the ball came out to Blackburn. They managed to break. Multiple of our players tried to stop them. Jake Clark-Salter did some kind of barrel roll in the middle of the pitch, and we couldn't stop him, and luckily they missed the attempt. The only other thing I can say for the first half is that Armstrong was working his socks off when he's being fed from the poorest delivery. I saw a lot of talk midweek about him being poor and not up to standard. Put Armstrong in any of the teams that have played us at Loftus Road this season, and I'm sure he'd be on 3 or 4 goals already. The guy is working hard. He shouldn't even be playing for QPR yet. He needs a good loan out, but that's where we're at right now. When the second half came around, Gareth Ainsworth made no substitutions, no tactical changes. And in the opening minutes, Blackburn just sat back, soaked up the pressure. And I wouldn't be surprised if Thomason said, they're not going to do anything with the ball, so don't waste your energy, you'll hit them on the break. And that's exactly what they did. They stayed composed, they kept their shape, and they got ready to break. They're more dangerous in every area than the pitch than QPR. And the third goal came on 58 minutes, with Dolan passing the ball to Smodic. He took the ball past Lakesh and curled the ball in from the edge of the box. And just like the first half, it didn't take Blackburn long to find another goal. This time Smodic was gifted the ball by Lakesh, and he slotted the ball in for his brace. The rest of the half is a blur, to be honest, because every time Blackburn had the ball, they were attacking. We made Dolan look like Messi. Like I said, they're in a false position in the league anyway, and boy, this was the match they needed for some confidence. They added a third of their total goals scored in today's match. Ainsworth didn't make a single substitution until the 71st minute, with Smith coming on for Colback, and as the half went on, we saw some more bizarre changes. Kakai for Lakesh, Dixon Bonner for Duke McKenna, and Colley for Armstrong. None of it made the blindest bit of difference. There is no identity, no strategy here. Ainsworth is absurdly out of his depth. We've now got to the international break, and to me, this is the last opportunity we have to make a serious change. Otherwise, I think that's it for the season. A new manager might not even be able to save us at this point, and who would even want to take the job? But this is the very last chance we get to change it while there are still a good run of games ahead of us. If Ainsworth had any dignity, he would resign tonight, because he is just not fit for purpose. I've said in previous videos, I don't think this is the worst squad in the world, but this is not the system for them. We're not playing the right players. And the blame doesn't just lie with Ainsworth. This is the result of years of mismanagement by these owners, and they need to step up and take some accountability rather than hiding and hoping the problem will go away. I'm starting to feel certain that we're going to be playing League One football next season, but they have one last chance this season to fix this. I don't care if it's Warnock, Warburton, any slightly tactically astute manager, but take the chance while it's there, because it's not going to be for long. If, as I've suspected in previous videos, that FFP is so tight that we can't even afford to sack Ainsworth and bring in a new manager, then there's very little point in turning up. Thank you very much for watching. If you've somehow enjoyed what you've just heard, I do a QPR video after every match, so please subscribe, it really helps me out. If you have any thoughts yourself, let me know in the comments. I'll reply to everything. See you after the international break. Cheers!